Because so many people will come and tell you long stories, but what is tangible? What can you touch? Is it quality product? Or is it just like any other product? So when you're looking at the competitive business environment, you're looking at the results. And we've been given an example of the OPI, which I must say I was privileged 2 years ago to be the chief judge of the institutions that we looked at that were being monitored by Kim. Rapid response to the market needs is a perception. What is it that you're doing that you're going to satisfy the market? Have we identified the gaps? Sometimes you do a lot of good things, but is it something that is required? What is the need outside there? So it's very important that we identify these responses and be able to respond to it. I know colleagues from Samsung and Google, they're going to give you more of the ICT and other areas. Just to give you an example, who is outside there who is going to resolve the problem of Budalangi floods? Who is outside there who is going to resolve the problem of water hyacinth? These are the needs of the society that we must respond whenever we do our research and thinking and innovation. Cutting edge technologies. We need to think about these technologies, the new technologies, the nanotechnology, the biotechnologies, the material science technologies, and so on and so forth. So we've got quite a bit of technologies outside there, but are we thinking about them? Even the technologies that we're using now, like ICT, you can see the way we have changed the society by using one aspect of this mobile banking, transfer of money here and there, and so on and so forth. So it's very important that we are looking at certain technologies. So when you're looking at innovation, innovative change, there are certain things that you need to identify. First is to identify a challenge. You must have a challenge. And it's because of that, this country have identified several challenges, and that's why we have a blueprint, Vision 2030, that every time we speak, we have to talk about it. That we would like to grow at the rate of 10% per annum in a sustainable manner in the next 18 years. Okay? So that's a challenge. So how are we going to grow? Personally, I'm not interested in what we know. But the issue is how are we going to move to that level? What is the solution? So when you are saying that you want to have a political people-centered, issue-based, we found that there was a challenge, political setup in this country. The solution is probably getting a new constitution. And this is exactly what we did. In your organization, what is the challenge? And how do you get that solution? And you'll see in my subsequent slides. How do we get there? Unless you know why you're here and you know where you want to go, you will never get there. This is a very basic principle of how to get to where you would like to be. If you don't know where you are, you'll never get to where you want to be. So how do we get there? These are things that we really need to discuss in our institution. That brings us to creativity, thinking outside the box. And sometimes you argue and say, you don't need that box. It could be a small box. Just be outside there. Think, imagine. It's about imagination. It's about the vision, thinking of invisible. Can you imagine somebody who was thinking of going to the moon? What sort of brains did they have that I am going to the moon? You can imagine if you're told you're going to go to the moon. Just imagine somebody was going to tell you that you're going to hold your mobile phone in your hands 20 years ago. You would never thought it was going to be possible. Today we are using mobile phones with SIM cards, mobile phone, normal SIM cards, micro SIM card, and now iPhone 5 is a nano SIM card. And somebody was just telling me, I just landed from Berlin this morning, they were telling me that in future we are thinking of SIM cardless. No SIM card. Seamless. Can you imagine? Seamless. Now you start imagining, how will that be done? Nanotech, whereby you don't need to take your suit anymore to the laundry. All right? So this is what creativity, you need to think outside the box. How do you organize the culture of innovation? Top management leadership. It's all about leadership. If you don't have the good leadership in terms of management, in my opinion, I stand to be contradicted, you fail. And we've been given examples. Examples that if you take, for example, Singapore, early 60s, our GDP was better than them. Today, we are on few dollars, while these guys are on $56,000. Okay? It's all about leadership. That individual be able to spur, the vision. Employee participation. This is another thing that, how do we get our employee to participate in what you as a leader is thinking as your vision? Because you've got to initiate that. All right? Of course, there are several school of thoughts. You can be able to participate from the bottom, but you can also give a direction, all right, and be able to get your employees participate and contribute in that. But most importantly, motivate. People are not motivated. What makes you wake up in the morning to go to your office? Is it the salary? Is it that you have to go because it's your mother, your father, your wife, and your husband? What motivates you? And there are people who really are doing a good job in this country, for example. Do we reward them? Do we recognize them? Or we just bring nepotism, tribalism, and say just because this person is from this community, from this region, then we need to reward them. All right? Do we recognize these people? Do we speak loud, or we only shoot people down? Do we recognize the talent? I see quite a number of Kenyans being recognized abroad, and sometimes we do not recognize and reward talents in this country. In terms of changing an institution, is very important that we look into that. Communication. This is another very critical area if you are to change an organization, to innovate and have creativity. Communication, two-way traffic. You have to do it vertical, horizontal. How do you communicate top, bottom, and bottom-up approach? It's very important for us to be able to move forward. But if you look at independence, and this is again adopted from my McKinsey 7S framework, you have so many things that you have to think about. Really, the strategies, you have to look at your structure, organogram, you have to look at the systems that you have. Are they efficient? Are they the bottlenecks? You have to look at the staff that you have. You have to look at the retooling the staff that you have. You have to look at the style, the management style that you're using. And I have been given about 15 or 20 minutes. There are so many management styles that you can be able to. The skills, sharpen the skills. We sometimes say the universities are producing half-baked, which I disagree in this country. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been where we are today as a nation. All right, but then again, the skills that we produce in the university, in tertiary institution, the TVET, the middle-level colleges, what strategies are you going to put in all these people and all these structures and systems so that you can super coordinate goals with a shared value that we're all moving, just like the way we are talking about the Vision 2030, with a social, political, and economic pillar. Okay? And again, if you look at the bedrock of all this, HR, we have the ICT, we have the science, technology, but again, issues that we'll be able to make sure that we all share. And sometimes when I go on speak, I ask people, are you aware of the Vision 2030? Some say yes, quite a number also would say no. But if you are improving performance through innovation, again, my sister said earlier, what do you need to do is transformational leadership. It is not lip service. It is doing things differently. And she's already said that if you continue, Tom, I think, said it earlier, that you continue doing the same things, you continue getting the same results. This is about transformational leadership. Looking at your vision and how you want to do things differently, tackling the challenges that I mentioned earlier, so that the society we are living can be a better society. Benchmarking, sometimes you do not need to reinvent the wheel. There are people who started before us. You need to look at what they have done. Don't copy, but learn from them. Good practice. There are quite a number of good things that people have been able to do. There are challenges they have faced. There are routes they have taken, they have failed. We do not need to take that route. And this is the advantage that we have. that there are people who have done certain things, you know, and then they have failed. So you do not need to take those avenues. Standardization, sometimes quality management system, you can be able to do that with a lot of creativity. Again, ISO certification is a classical example. Again, this is just to make sure that things are done, things are measured. You are able to pick very clear performance indicators. You're able to pick very clear results so that you can be able to focus on your customer. Because by the end of the day is the customer. Anything you do, even the projects that I have done, I have to do monitoring and evaluation. I have to make sure I can go out to the public, and I'm sure quite a number of you knew about the Science, Technology, Innovation Week that we had. About 1,500 Kenyans who are going on daily basis at the KICC to see the innovations that we have. An innovation today that other than the M-Pesa, I can proudly say that you're getting somebody who has got a shoe and has got gadgets in it, that we can be able, as you move up and down, you're creating some energy, power. In the evening, you remove your shoe, plug in your mobile phone, and you can charge it. Somebody is producing a gadget that you put in water. It produces specific sound that attracts fish. You don't need to go very deep in the lake. And you can pick your fish and go home. All right? Somebody is producing gadgets that they are not inventions. They are innovations. They will put a gadget somewhere and you can monitor exactly what is happening here. You can listen to conversation. You can have a siren. You can be able to monitor. You can do anything that you want to do on your mobile phone. All right? Car tracking device. Somebody has already in this country developed a tablet. Solar charged tablet. And I'm urging my cabinet secretary, if you watched me talking NTV, we don't need to go far. Here is a tablet that we have already developed in this country. These are examples. We can go on and on and on. And if you think they are not good examples, I'm here. Give me better ones, I'll fund them. But do we celebrate this? Do we celebrate innovations, technological advancements? I think it's something that probably we need to take it up. Continuous improvement. I like that statement that, you know, you should not be afraid of failing. It is not a mistake to make a mistake. Big mistake to repeat a mistake, of course. But sometimes you have to fail several times. Let me give you an example. If I'm funding an institution in the tune of about 2-3 billion, and they're looking for HIV and AIDS vaccine, today we have got 7 billion people in the globe. Can you imagine if we break through and we have a vaccine and sell it for only $1? How much money are we going to make? But these guys have got to do research for 10 years. They will try something and be able to get something good out of it. And maybe it might not work. But if it doesn't work, then whoever comes after them, they will say, this is not the route that you need to take. So this is keep on improvement. You know, improving, you've got your plans, you've got to do it, you've got to keep on checking. So in any organization, whatever strategic plans that you have developed, we are very good in developing policies. We are excellent in developing strategic plans. But do we look at them? Do we check them? Do we change them? It is not supposed to be cast on stone. There is a 5-year plan and it must be done like that. You need to review it. You need to check. But most importantly, you need to act. Can you imagine us talking and talking and talking without taking any action? So it is very important that we do all this. That's why sometimes I give people very basic principles in life. Principle number 1, take 100% responsibility of your life. No blame game. That things are not working because of so and so. It is you as an individual. You must know where you are to be where you want to be. Unless you know why you're here, why did you come to this seminar today, you'll end up here saying, we have heard what Professor was saying. It's not the first time I've heard about those things. The fact that I and my colleagues are repeating it is extremely important. If it wasn't, then we wouldn't have emphasized it. But what do you want to achieve from this? Keep on trying. Taking action is extremely important. Failing and waking up again in any organization. And I think that continuous building synergies and improvement is something that can be able to take us very far. John Cotter, innovation everywhere is never going to happen on a regular basis because you appoint innovation team. Great innovation happens because enough people want to be innovative, want the innovation to be useful, and are convinced they have the permission to try to be innovative. He's putting it to have that permission, that you can be creative, you can think, you can imagine, and come and say, why is this